Welcome to the SoulBodyHorse podcast, where we dive deep into the horse-human connection. Here we believe in the power of stories, in digging deeper, pushing further, and asking the oft unsaid question. I'm your host, Meredith Crawford. Today we have a very special guest, Alyssa Sheffar. She runs a 409-acre ranch, has a pet crematorium, and does deep healing work with her horses for humans. She's also a yoga teacher and studio owner, or at least was at one point, and a holistic nutritionist.
Yep.
And horses have been a major influence and part of her journey and what she does today. I'm so delighted to have you here. And as I was sharing before we pushed record, I have been just jumping off the walls with excitement. So, just right off, your hashtags are all around the horse witch. Can you unpack that for me and what it is that you do and how you help heal and your witchiness?
Okay, I'm so excited. So it's so deep. There's so many pieces, but I'll just trust what comes through today is what I meant to say about it. So, okay. So there's the connection with the witch hunt and patriarchy and healing sort of that feminine mother, sister, witch wound, which I think is connected to our magic and our essence. And it's what connects us as women and this maternal blood and bone, earthy ancestral connection. I don't know. There's just something to me about the witch that's very healing and deep and rich and feminine and just delicious. So I work with herbs. I'm a herbalist, and herbalism, I should say, as I prefer to use that language, and just connecting the earth and the way horses step in and bring this next level layer of consciousness. It's like creating magic in our life, like what you're able to unbridle from. Childhood stuff, societal stuff, generational, ancestral stuff, even stuff with the land. Like horses just are catalysts and they want to. It's not like the one thing that's really important to me that I love to talk about is not using them as a tool in your business, but actually being in a reciprocal relationship with them where you're healing for them and then they get to be healing for you. It's a give and a receive, a reciprocity that's just like with nature, with the land, with Mother Earth. And if you're really willing to listen and go there, you can unbridle from so much stuff and birth just all of your dreams. I've proven it. So I feel like I get to say that and it feels so good because I'm living it. So I just think it's really, there's so much magic in the consciousness that you can, and all animals really, and nature, but horses have just been the one that my heart screams for and loves. And just my whole life, there's been a yearning for them in my life. And I finally found my way. It wasn't one way of riding or another way, or it was just how I discovered who I am. And yeah, it's crazy. I love it.
Would you mind sharing it with us? Just your journey to all of this yummy stuff?
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll try to keep it condensed. I'm turning 35 next week, so I'm really excited. I had a pretty good childhood. I'll be honest. I'm very grateful and blessed for that. And I had babies really young. So in my teenage years, I really didn't feel comfortable to be safe with who I was. I was sort of wanted to be more morphed into something else. I'm just trying to be mindful of my language, but I wasn't allowed to be fully myself. And so I created sort of these masks. I became a master, like everything's good, kind of inauthentic in my life. And so I got married really young and had babies and just kept that happy face on and kept pushing, became a yoga teacher, ran a full-time day home, opened a yoga studio. My marriage was crumbling. I wasn't a very good present mom because I wasn't doing any of my own work or even feeling safe to be myself. And I always had this yearning for horses. I had them in my life as teenagers at summer camp. I begged my mom to go and spent my summers there. And then I got married young and fell into yoga, so kind of drifted away from them for a while. And finally, when my marriage came crumbling down, very painful divorce, and I closed my yoga studio, which was a hard decision, I decided to step back into horses. But I would go, Western riding, and there would be spurs, and that just I was in lessons, and it was really harsh, and it broke my heart to see the horse, which is the mare I ended up buying her. And that's how the journey began. And she was just dissociated from her body. She was so wounded somewhere else, and I was wounded in somewhere else. And we both just, I don't know. And so we spent a year on the ground next to each other, and I just hung out with her. And there was times she wanted nothing to do with me, and I would leave the pasture freaking crying, so mad, stomping, like, fine, if you don't want to be with me, like just devastated. And slowly it morphed into this incredible transformation for both of us. We're both here and healthy and happy and connected. And like, she's just such a different horse and I'm such a different woman. And so I knew I had to bring this to the world. So I found training, but I had the yoga background, holistic nutrition and herbalism already. And then I did some equine training, and that was to facilitate with them. And so I've had to kind of find my way in the industry because there's so many of us that are incredible. I think if this calling is on your heart, you're meant to be here. I just had this conversation with a client yesterday. If something's on your heart, you're meant to be here. You have the medicine already. You are the witch already. It's about unearthing it and practicing it. It's not about becoming anything different. It's about tapping into it and unbridling it and birthing it. I love the connections I've been able to make and the women I get to work with. And it's just, I feel so blessed that I get to do healing work with women where they get to take off the masks and unbridle from all that stuff. And it's so unique to each of us. The horses show you your truth. It's so unique. It's incredible. It's just the most magical thing, I think, on the planet.
Can you sort of unpack like what it looks like for a woman to come work with you?
Okay, so I have two different ways, in person and online. Do you have a preference in which one you'd like to hear, or just a bit of both?
No, both. I'm super curious. So
in person, I like to do a series of sessions, but sometimes they've come for like 3 days or 5-day retreats, one-on-one and group, but sometimes it's someone more local and they can come back. And I'd like to do like 4 to 6 packages or 4 to 6 times in person, because when you get in there, you cannot script this work, which is something I say all the time because it's true. I have no clue. I mean, I have an idea because I know my horses and their medicine and our environment and the land wisdom and my own facilitation. Like, I have an idea of the people that are coming and what we're tapping into, but each woman is so unique. And I have had men as well, not as many, but everybody's so unique. So what the horses are bringing up for you and showing you and interacting with you, it's so personalized. So I never know what's going to happen. And a lot of times it still blows my mind years later. And I love it. And it can be very deep. There can be lots of tears because it's essences of yourself. And it's the softest way to receive from a horse, because they're just these gentle, majestic beings. And there's no judgment or ego. And they're, it's not like sitting down, and not that I'm anything against therapy. I love therapy. I'm actually stepping into a trauma-informed training. So this isn't that, but it's a different type of therapy where it's not just talking, it's deep in your body and in your energy, because that's how horses interact with you. So it's just such a profound, really shedding, healing, transformational way of moving through some of the darkest times in your life. Or even if you're just like, I don't know the next step, like, I don't know, like, the horses will show you what's going on for you, because that's what they're reading is the truth for you at this moment. So it's incredible. Yeah. So sorry, back to your question. In person, we get together, we do a grounding exercise, we go out into the field. It's all at liberty. I was trained in activities, but I find that there's so much more magic that happens when it's organic, when it's truly at liberty with the horse gets to step forward and choose, and it's real. It's not like us catching and doing with the horse, which is still powerful in its own way. But when a horse chooses to step forward and engage and interact, and there's something coming up for you, and you are in a space where you get to be held and reflect and release and receive, it's just so delicious. So then we kind of unpack what happened and we talk about the horses, and then usually they come back. But the online is, do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, I'm curious, like, how do you work with the person online and with the horse? Is it their horse, like, all on Zoom? Or is it your horses and the person who's virtual? Like, how does that work?
Super unique. And I have done it live before through Zoom, but it actually has turned out to be more powerful through video. So I use WhatsApp, and they send me videos of their horses, and I send mine, and we communicate back and forth around what the horses are bringing to the conversation, what the client's receiving. I often will give readings throughout the container. Like right now I'm doing a 1-month intensive, and I'm doing tons of regular readings for all of my clients, because so much comes from that, where they watch the video and receive. I also watch the video after being out there for them and share what came through. And then we connect the dots, and the rest is history, magic.
Wow.
So it's through video and audio and written messages.
Okay. How do you weave the herbalism through this?
It depends on what's coming up with my clients. And if the horses bring anything up, or if a client tells me, like, I had one write me this morning, ask for stuff for her liver. She wants to do a detox. So people just ask me because they know, or I will say, like, someone will say, I'm not sleeping, and I'll offer, or I've got this pain, I'm not offer, or yeah. So it comes up organically.
Very cool.
Yeah. And seasonally too. Like, I work with the wheel of the year, like the Sabbats and all of that, all the seasons. And if something's not growing in winter, we're not meant to be taking it. So like I work with the seasons for sure, and our moon cycles also. So it's just very unique. Yeah.
And then you have horse spells. For the uninitiated, it seems like, okay, you've taken traditional witch spells and combined it with the horses or from the horses. Can you also unpack that?
Horse spells there are a couple different. So a lot of women come to me, they're like a reading. I send a video and a write-up. And usually I ask them to set an intention before without telling me. So I can't go in there with preconceived notion. And we reflect what comes up and how they connect and how they mirror. And it's usually pretty incredible. And so it's sort of like if somebody wants to manifest more money or more clients, let's say, that's really common with women that do this work that come to me. But if somebody's also looking to like release parts of their body where they've had massive pain for years, like physical pain, like if somebody's wanting to work through something, cast it in the spell. I also send clients clippings of the horse's manes or tails, and they breathe them and repeat like incantations, like what you want to manifest in your life or what you want to release. Same thing. You just cast a spell it can be for your year, for your lifetime. It can be for someone else, as long as it's obviously from a heart and soul place, because that's where the horses work from, right? So it's like, it's got to be in clean energy that you would do this. But yeah, for sure. Like if my kids are going through something in school, I might go and groom the horses and just picture my kids for a minute and just sort of sweep the energy off the back of the horse and clear it for my children. Like I just combine horse energy, physical into all of these amazing things that I want to create in my life. It helped us land a 409-acre ranch. So it's working. And I'm helping women unearth how to tap into that for themselves, their way. Because that's the thing, is all of us, especially if you have a calling for horses, you have this ability. It's about actually unbridling it and birthing it. Like it truly is. It's just practice. It's just working with someone in a safe container. I'm so grateful I get to do this for women. It just feels so, I don't know, and transformational for myself too. It's been a win for sure.
Wow. Are there client stories over the years that have really stuck with you?
Quite. I've had clients that have been with me since yoga, and now they're doing horse healing. So they've worked with me for 15 years in different modalities. So that's cool. I have had clients, like I just finished with 2 clients that I did a year with, because I offer I prefer the long-term containers, because you just get so intimate and deep. It's like you get to be a part of a period of someone's life, and the horses really are just this regular current of steering them. And it's just so cool. It's so cool. So I love long-term, but the intensive that I'm doing right now is so intense that it's also really cool. And people do sign up with me again. Yeah. So I'm also very grateful when clients outgrow me, because it means I did my job. So it doesn't hurt my feelings when they do move on and find someone else, because I know that I did something in that part of their life and they are moving on. That's a beautiful thing. I feel so flattered.
Beautiful outlook. Now tell me about the story of a 409-acre ranch, because that is a very precise acreage number, and probably more acreage than most of us know what to do with.
Yeah, it's been an adventure. So it came with the pet crematorium business. They definitely came hand in hand together. There was 3 other owners that started this. So this property has seen a lot of movement. So I've had to do a lot of land clearing. There's been a lot of like breakups and just stuff like that happen here. Neighbors have been sharing with me. So I've been working on land clearing and tapping into like the wisdom of this particular location. But we just have like hay fields forever back here. And then it's all wild here too. So we constantly have a wildlife here. It is the most majestic spot to end up. We're only half an hour from town. So we have convenience, especially with teenagers. Well, and little kids too, but my teenagers are so on the go. So I'm always back and forth. So it's nice to be close. It had like everything on my checklist. It's incredible.
Sorry, when you say that it came with the pet crematorium business, was that already built, or was that something you built pretty much the same time you got keys to the property?
No, they were doing it like 3 owners before started it.
And okay.
It continued to sort of, it's growing obviously because we're full-time busy. I look that way because that's where it is. Sorry. It's full-time for sure. And at first, of course, I was like anyone else. And I was like, oh, I never even thought of that business. And that's kind of morbid. How do you do it? And we went for a test run while the offers were still back and forth. We came and went with the previous owners for a test run. And it was weird, yes. But I know what we're doing on the other side. And because I practice, horse magic, I'm a horse witch, witchcraft, if you wish. I believe in death and the cycle of life. And to be able to hold space, the last physical space for these animals on earth, and that, like, to be able to watch the transformation from a physical thing to ashes in an urn that we then hand back to the owners that get to take them home and have them forever and sprinkle them and keep them whatever they wish. that feels so rewarding. And for some reason, I feel like I was definitely called. And I think like we all we're two families, we're a team, my husband and then his son and wife and their younger kids and my two teens. And so we all run it together and it's full time and busy, but I think we all feel this sense of like, we get to be of service in a way that's obviously needed and not many people want to do. And it feels really good for the animals as well, because we're all very much animal people. So we could get busier, but we just we'd have to hire somebody. Like if there's a need for this out there, because it's kind of yucky, right?
Yeah, but it's also surprising how many people and friends that I've had over the years who have had their pets cremated.
Yeah, same with us too. So yeah, it's been an adventure and I'm not sure what will come of it, but it keeps us busy.
Has going through this process of stepping into the crematorium business changed your view of death at all? Maybe more precisely, the view of the soul's journey. I mean, this is SoulBodyHorse.
Do you want me to be like really honest?
Yeah, go for it.
So I'll keep out the really morbid details, but it's fire that obviously burns the body down. And so you watch the flame and the smoke. Well, I mean, it closes in a thing, but it has a stack. So flame and smoke come out the top and you feel a sense of release. And I mean, we always talk to the animal by first name. Like the vets tell us the first name of the animal and so we can always keep track too, because we work with vets, not just the local public. So we know the animal's first name and we acknowledge them and, say sorry and hope you had a good life and just try to, send a message up there. And then you watch them go for a minute. And then it's like, yeah, you feel the release. Yeah. Because they're no longer, they come to you in a physical matter and then they come out like this. You feel the release. Yeah. Yeah.
When I first started communicating with the animals, they say, the animals don't tell you things that you're not ready to hear.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden at that point, I didn't have any belief or anything whatsoever with reincarnation. That was, somewhere else and for other people, not me. And then the animals just started talking about reincarnation. And I remember it was one of the first animals I chatted with in spirit. It was a turtle. The turtle said, like, ask my people, do they want me to come back as a dog or a cat? The more that I've chatted with animals in spirit over the years, the more it's, I see that for many animals, you just grab a body and you go, and it's not a big deal. And it doesn't have the same attachments that humans have.
Yeah.
And so I'm just curious, how, since I'm used to chatting with the animals and dealing with the soul aspect, how it is dealing with the body aspect.
It's hard to explain because they're just really heavy, but you still see character, you still see individuality in them. Like they're still them. They are that body in that life. Like you still see, like you can see the personality and the essence of the animal just in the way that they've passed. And it's pretty incredible. And you do feel the soul release for sure. We have a spot where because we have private cremation and communal cremation for people that don't want ashes back, but can't bury or don't know what to do with their pets. So they end up in what's called communal, and it's a larger incinerator. And then we have a spot here, which we're calling the Rainbow Garden, where we bury them. So I feel like, whether they go home to be with their family in the physical matter of ashes and sit on a mantle and just get to be thought of and loved still, or they get buried or sprinkled in the ocean or buried in the Rainbow Garden here where they were loved, the final physical matter moment that they had on earth. I think because it still condenses to a physical matter, the ash, right? Like you're always physically connected to the earth. You become the earth in one way or another. Like it's crazy, but you don't actually burn down to air, right? That's why I always talk about how our bodies are made of earth matter, and like our blood and bone are what are connected to the ancestors or people that went hundreds of years ago, that what they went through, we hold in our physical body, in our earthly body, because we were here some way or another, a physical matter. It's incredible.
Has it informed your horse witch? I don't know if I should call it a business. It feels more like activities.
It is, but it's still a business, the marketing and the money management and all of that. Yeah, I know there's definitely still business, but it hasn't influenced the healing work as much. In a way, it has, not that I ever thought death was a bad thing, but I never had really experienced it until 2019 when my dad passed and we didn't cremate him for a few days. So we actually saw his body after he passed. That was my first time experiencing death. And then we lost a couple pets and then we moved in here. So I still was sort of new to the concept. And every time I'd pass wildlife on the road, I would cover my eyes and hide away from it. Like I didn't want to look at death. And all of a sudden it's changed the way I look at death. Like even with my last monthly flow, I was like, okay, what is dying? This is the end of a cycle. What is dying? What is completing at this point? Like I look at death way differently now. I just drove by a deer that was dying and I pulled over and I literally stared death in the eye for a minute. It was very strange, but it's changed the way I feel about that, which is part of the cycle of life. So not that I was ever afraid of death. I just didn't really want to look at it. And now I'm like, okay, I can handle the death side of life too, because there's a lot of things that I want to let die within me. And so probably that I probably speak to it a little bit more than I ever would have.
More of an embracing and less of a.
Yeah, exactly. And like I totally have, I believe so much that we can connect with spirits all the time. So it's definitely even because I feel like all those happy little animals are definitely hanging out around, there's a space. It's beautiful here. So why not?
Amazing. What do you maybe wish you had known when you were starting out?
You got some good questions. Honestly, probably that it's not meant to be easy in the beginning and you don't start in your chapter 20 and just keep going and it'll come. Just don't expect your chapter 20 to happen in chapter 1. Just allow yourself to be a beginner, allow yourself to be new, allow yourself to struggle. It's okay. It's part of the journey. There's no rush because it comes. Trust that. It comes and then you feel ready for it. It's a weird feeling. When it comes, finally, you're like, oh, now I'm ready for it. I wasn't back then. So need to relax a little.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with your audience today?
2 different things. If you want to do this work, continue to be the client, continue to spend time with your horses, continue to walk the talk and be in the arena and learn from them. Like at no point are you ever done and you're an expert and your horses are just like, they are continuing to evolve as you are too. So continue to do the work. I think that makes the best horsewomen, facilitators, whatever title you carry, role you play with horses, partnership. And then for the healing aspect, I think stay open. Clear your channel so that you can get the messages from the horses. Like don't go out there with your shit. Stop at the gate, do some deep breathing, check into your body and get out there so you're a clear channel so you can receive and communicate and not take your stuff out there and all that.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Now, for those who would like to learn more about how to get in contact with you, to work with you in some capacity, where should they go?
My favorite place to hang out. I'm super comfortable on there and have an awesome community. So Facebook, just at Alyssa Sheffar, which is just my name. And same with Instagram or the hashtag HorseSwitch. But I do think a few other people have used it. But still, HorseSwitch or Alyssa.Sheffar on Instagram. And you can always just email me, alyssasheffar@gmail.com. My website's totally under construction because things have definitely morphed since COVID. And that's the last time it was updated. So things have been morphing the last couple of years and I wasn't ready to redo it yet because I was like, I don't know who I am and what I'm going to be doing yet. But here I am. I'm ready. So yeah. So that's the best place. And I've got lots of specials on right now. And I've got a couple really fantastic offerings. So come and join us. Come and learn.
Well, thank you so much. And for our listeners, if you'd like to learn more information about our host, Meredith Crawford, and her exploration to the depths of the horse-human relationship, visit her at thelab.horse online. And thanks for listening.